This actually, I just want to hop back over here. All right. Let me see. I should get a notification or something. I don't know. Okay, I'll fix that later. Maybe it's because which account am I in? That's probably why it's not working. Let me switch this. I'm coming, guys. We're about to get started. Okay. I ain't gonna worry about that. Okay. So I mean, I don't mind doing this right now. So again, yeah. So we took attendance as I was taking attendance as I was letting everybody into the call. I'm gonna lock the meeting after 15 minutes, right? So try to give people 15 minutes to get in. After that 15-minute mark, you just have to try the next time. So we will. So hopefully, you should. Most people should have an Alex account. We're gonna be incorporating Alex into this. I just think it's good, and it help to fill in. It'll help fill in the things that I'm missing. As far as filling in any of our deficiencies. If you don't have an Alex account, give me until next class. Give me until Thursday to figure out how to get you in there. I had to contact my colleague, and she'll give me instructions on how to get you in there. Otherwise, we can just kind of keep going, continue where we left off from last time. Again, if there are questions, let me see. Yeah. If there are questions, we're gonna use the chat for today, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and minimize this for now. Okay. Let's see. So I think I know where we left off. Let me kind of pick up where we left off. So we started section 1.4. That's what I did with them. Okay, I think this is the last thing that we did on this past Tuesday. I know I wrote down. I'm just using another file. Okay, let me go ahead and make that note. Right. So I think last time we stopped here. It was Monday. What's today? Today is the 15th, so that was Monday, September 14th, 2020. And this was that was the 4 p.m. course. So then, we're going to start here today. Start here, Tuesday, September 15th, right? 15, 2020. 3:50 p.m. Okay. All right. So we're going to pick up here again. If you have questions, just for right now, we're just going to use the chat. I think I know how to work that rhythm. I think it works for me. It allows me to do what I need to do and kind of keep the rhythm and flow. So continue. So we're continuing this discussion on a library of functions. And so with this slide, we want to introduce this notion of what do we mean by a relative maximum and relative minimum. So if A is in the domain of a function f, we say that the value f of we're doing 4. So about 30 today. Okay. We say that f of a is a relative minimum of f if there's an open interval x1 to x2 containing a such that f of a is less than or equal to f of x for every x in this interval. So the simple explanation here is that we say that f of a is a minimum if it's less than all the nearby y values, right? And we say that f of a is a relative maximum if f of a is essentially larger than all the nearby y values, right? Let's see this in action. You're gonna see pretty good sized delay. So these are some examples of relative max and relative min, right? So this point here is higher than all the nearby y values. This y value here is larger than all the nearby y values. So these are two examples of relative maximum. These are relative minimum, like the bottom of a valley. the maximum, the top of the peak of a mountain, the minimum, or the bottom of a valley, right? So that a few minutes, right? How could I get that to respond a little bit quicker? So we say that a function f is called an even function if every x in the domain of f, negative x is also in the domain. So the definition we have for even function, whenever we do f of negative x, we finish with f of x. That's the definition of a function being even that we're going to use, right? A function being even is also is the same as y-axis symmetry, right? So even function has y-axis symmetry. Let's see, can I, let me go like this. In just a moment, hopefully that'll behave properly. Go like this. It's just about to lock it up. Okay. Is that everybody for right now? Okay, I think we're okay. Let's hop back over here. Oop. Like that. Okay. Hold on, I'll bring the chat back. Here, I have to go like this, put it in chat. There it is. Okay. So again, the definition of a function being even means that if we do, are you slowing down now? You sure you are. Okay. So like that, and like this. This one. View, single page. Stop. Let's get back to where we left off. Actually, I can do it this way. We passed that. We're about right here. And one other thing. Let's do. We're gonna lock the meeting. Okay. So again, as I let people into the room, I went on to give you attendance credit, right? So I take attendance as I let people in. I let everyone in one by one. If you want to ask a question, you just have to type it into the chat for right now. Okay. Okay. So again, a function being even. When we do f of negative x, we get back the original. And also a function being even is the same as y-axis symmetry. Okay. So then we also have this notion of what we mean by a function being odd. So we say that when we do f of negative x, we get negative of the original. A function being odd is the same as origin symmetry. Okay. So let's see these in action. I think I needed some space here. Okay, let me clear this out. Clear the page. Let's actually undo. Go back this way. No, I'll just do it this way. Delete. Okay, that's fine. Paper. Paper. Okay. So then we're actually, let's do paper and graph paper too. So we're actually determine whether each function is even, odd, or neither. Okay. So say we start with part A, and we're going to work g of x equals x cubed minus 4x, right? So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to replace x with a blank set of parentheses. So I'm going to replace each x with a blank set of parentheses. Right? And then inside the blank parentheses, I'm going to replace each x with a negative x. I'm replacing each x with a negative x. Okay? So then if we keep going, if we simplify, if we have an odd number of negatives, that final result will be negative, right? So it's going to be a negative x cubed. And then in the second part, negative 4 times negative x is going to be a positive 4x, right? So notice we can factor out a negative from both of those, and we'll get this x cubed, not plus, but minus 4x. And x cubed minus 4x is the original, so this is equal to negative of the original. Sorry. Right? And that's not an F. I did the same thing earlier. That's a G. Right? So now we have g of negative x equals negative g of x. So then that's the definition of a function being odd. Okay, let's work part B. And again, if you have a question, you just have to type it in the chat. Otherwise, I'll just kind of keep going. So we have f of x equal to, this one we have x squared plus 5, right? Oh, let's add a page. Okay. So the same thing. First, we're going to replace each x with a blank set of parentheses. And that blank set of parentheses, what it does, it helps us to keep track of the negative, right? So we're going to replace each x with a negative. Replace each x with negative x. All right, if we keep going, so negative x times negative x is a positive x squared plus 5x. Notice this is the original. This is equal to f of x, right? So we have f of negative x equals f of x. That's the definition of a function being even. Okay, doesn't seem like there are any questions, so I'm gonna keep going. And then part C, we have h of x equals 2x cubed plus x squared. I need to move all this. I'm gonna just cut it right here. And I want to paste. Equal to be about there. We can go about there. Okay, this looks fine. Okay. So I just do this vertical bar to help me line up my equal signs. It just makes it a lot easier to be neat and organized. The more organized that we can be, the better our experience is going to be, right? So again, we're going to replace each x with a blank set of parentheses. So we got 2x cubed plus x squared, right? And then from here, we replace each x with a negative x. Okay. And so we get, in the first term, we have an odd number of negatives. So it's negative x times negative x times negative x. We're going to have a negative 2x cubed, right? Second one, we have an even number of negatives, so that's going to become plus x squared. I think even if we factor out a negative, we won't be able to get back to the original. So we're going to say that this one is neither even nor odd. This one is neither. Okay, I feel like this is okay. Let's go back to view, single page. So I think we got odd, and then even, and then neither. Odd, even, and then neither. Oh, did I forget? Yeah, we're good. Why is it neither and not odd? So odd means, the definition of odd is if we say basically f of negative or g of negative x, we get negative of the original, right? This isn't negative of the original. So if this function were odd, it would be the case that h of negative x would equal negative h of x. That's the definition of a function being odd, right? But if we look at, so we already see h of negative x. If we look at negative h of x, that's going to be a negative times h of x. That's going to be negative 2x squared, 2x cubed, negative 2x cubed minus x squared, right? These are not the same. This is what we got when we did h of negative x. This is actually negative h of x. They're not equal. That's why it's not odd. Mainly because of this sign right here. All right. H of negative x, we got a plus here. Negative h of x, we got a minus. If those were matched up, then it would have been odd, right? Okay. Okay. So to evaluate a piecewise function, so a piecewise function, all a piecewise function is, it's several graphs on one plane, right? So here it says to evaluate a piecewise function, determine which line of the function applies to the number a, and then evaluate f of a using the line chosen in step 1. Okay, let's see it in action. Oh, let me clear the page. Go ahead and clear a bunch of pages. Another one. Yeah, let's. Actually, with that one. Okay, let me keep that like that. I'm coming, guys. Okay. And that would be okay. And I think we left off here. Okay. So say we consider this piecewise function. Basically, we're asked to find f of 0 and f of 2, right? So for instance, if we're going to do f of 0, that means our x is 0. So if x is 0, do we use line 1 or do we use line 2? If x is 0. Do we use line 1 or do we use line 2? All right, if x is 0. We're going to use line 1, right? Because if x is 0, line 1 says use this line if x is less than 1. Well, 0 is less than 1, so we're going to plug in the 0 here. Right? So right now this one says use line 1. So f of 0 is going to be 0 squared, which is just 0. Then if we consider f of 2, do we use, for f of 2, when x is 2, do we use line 1 or do we use line 2? If x is 2, do we use line 1 or line 2? Line 1 or line 2? We use line 2, right? We're going to use line 2 because line 2 says use this line if x is bigger than or equal to 1. 2 is bigger than or equal to 1. See, line 1 says use this if x is smaller than 1. 2 is not smaller than 1, so we're not going to use line 1. Line 2 says use this if x is greater than or equal to 1. X is greater than or equal to 1, so that's the line that we're going to use. So then with that one, we're going to say 2 times 2 plus 1, I think that's 5. All right? So we got 0 and we got 5. You see the results there. that's fine. All right. So this example, we're asked to sketch the graph of this piecewise function, right? So to sketch the graph of a piecewise function, all we do is we graph it like normal, and then we're going to get rid of part of the graph and keep the part that relates, keep the necessary part, right? So we have a copy of that here, and we have some graph paper. Let me go like this, paper, graph paper. Okay, and we're asked to graph this piecewise function. Somebody have a favorite color? What's your favorite color? Just curious. Green, interesting. They say geniuses pick green. Anybody? Give me a color in red, right? We'll do green and red. Ooh, I like maroon. Ooh, I might have to trump red. I'm gonna have to trump red because this is Morehouse. So I got green. I'm gonna use this like olive color green, right? We're gonna do this first line in green. Let's undo. Come on, green. Boom. All right. You can go about there. It's fine. Style, fill. We want this color green, right? And then we're gonna copy. Uh-oh. Paste. And we're gonna do the second line. Every time I take the pen off, it jumps a little bit. Let's see if I zoom in. Does that help it? That's actually good enough. That works. Okay, we'll do the second line in maroon. We'll go like this. Style. Maroon is like kind of like that one. Like that one kind of. Okay, that'll do. All right. Okay, so this is how I like to do these, right? So the first one, I'm just gonna graph it like normal. If we have y equals negative 2x plus 1, it's already in the form of y equals mx plus b, right? So if we have y equals negative 2x plus 1, our y-intercept is 1, right? So we're gonna start there. And then the slope is negative 2. So I'm gonna go down 2 and right 1 and put a point. And I'm gonna just kind of continue that pattern so I can easily kind of fill the graph, right? So I'm gonna go that way. And the other direction, I'm gonna go up 2 and left 1. Up 2 and left 1. Up 2 and left 1, right there, okay? So then I'm gonna connect those with a straight edge. Okay? And another straight edge. Okay? Oh, I don't even have to do that. Okay, I think that looks okay. And there's one other thing I'd like to do. Okay. We're going to come back and make a change. But right now, I'm just graphing both of them like normal. So the next one, the y-intercept is 1, so it's the same y-intercept. But then the slope is 3, positive 3 in this case. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3 and right 1 and put a point. 1, 2, 3 and put a point. Then I'm also going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3 and put a point. 1, 2, 3 and put a point. And I'm going to do one more. I like this. Continue the pattern, right? I'm going to connect those with a straight edge. I really only need 2. This is fine. That looks good. And then this one. Okay. And then one other thing I'd like to do. Okay. Partial. That's good. Okay. So the first thing that we did, we graphed both of these like normal. It's just multiple graphs on the same plane. But now the first line, the green part, says it only applies if x is less than 1, right? So if we look here, When x is 1, we're about here, right? So now, if we focus on the green, and we have this line, if we focus on the green, if x is less than 1, are we keeping the left part or are we keeping the right part? If x is less than 1, do we keep the left part or do we keep the right part? So again, the green applies if x is less than 1. Are we talking about the numbers to the left of 1 or are we talking about the numbers to the right of 1? We want to keep the left, right? We want to keep the left. Because if x is smaller than 1, that means we keep the numbers to the left. So what that means is I'm going to erase everything to the right. So I'm going to get rid of all this. For the green part, I'm going to get rid of everything to the right. And we're going to use an open circle because there's no bar under it, right? I'm going to do my open circle. Look at those a little bit smaller. Style. Fill, we want it to be empty. Actually, I'm going to fill it with this color. That way it gives the illusion of being empty. Okay, we put an open circle, right? Because there's no bar here, right here. There's no bar, so we did an open circle. If there were a bar, it would be a closed circle. Okay, so for a similar discussion, now if we focus on the red says we keep the red if x is bigger than or equal to 1, right? So here is x is equal to 1. So if we keep when x is bigger than or equal to 1, are we keeping the left part? Are we keeping all the numbers to the left or are we keeping all the numbers to the right? If x is bigger than 1, are we keeping everything to the left or are we keeping everything to the right? We're keeping everything to the right, right? Because x is greater than or equal to 1. So we want to keep all the x values, everything for the red going this way. For the red, we keep everything going this way. For the green, we keep everything going this way, right? We're done with the green. So that means that if we're going to keep everything to the right, then we're going to get rid of everything to the left, right? For the red. So I'm going to get rid of all of this stuff to the left for red. All right, we're just going to keep that. And we're going to put a closed circle. Let me see. Copy, paste. Anyway, I'm just being a little bit OCD. Totally unnecessary. I was just trying to see the capabilities. Style, we want to fill, and this needs to be a filled-in circle with the maroon. Because there's a bar, right? Because there's a bar, we're going to use a filled-in circle. And the line also needs to be maroon. Okay. Yeah, this looks good. And let me get rid of this. Okay. So, let me see the time. We're actually pretty good on time. Yeah. Okay. So we sketched the graph. I don't really want to go too much further, because this is about where we stopped, right? Let me go paper. Okay, and let's go back to view. Single page. So then that's going to be the graph of the piecewise function. So all the piecewise function is, it's just several graphs on one chart, and you got to erase a part that you don't need, and you keep a part that applies, right? So in the definition of f, the formula changes at x equal to 1. We call such number transition points of the formula. For this function f, the only transition point is 1. So graph the function separately over the open intervals determined by the transition point, and then graph the function at the transition point themselves. For this function, the formula f specifies that we graph the equation this on the interval -infinity to 1. So that's the part to the left. And then the other one should be from 1 to infinity. Okay. So this is where my earlier class stopped. Notice, so this is a computer generated chart, and we just did the same thing by hand, and we got the same result. Okay. I was trying to decide if I wanted to keep going with these notes. I kind of want to put a pause in the notes for right now. I really wanted to use the rest of the time as a homework session, right? So we can do things like we can go ahead and access Alex. Let me unmute you guys. I want to stop streaming. Let me know if I need to stop streaming. I'll stop streaming. You know, just we want to minimize like personal information going out onto YouTube as best we can. I'm going to unmute. I'll allow you guys to unmute. So now is a good time. If we go to Alex, Alex is spelled ALEKS.com. Alex, like this. So this is a good time to go ahead and get started there. Alex.com. All right. If this is your first time being a freshman at Morehouse, you should already have an account. So I think you guys set it up over the summer. Is anybody right now that does not have access to Alex? I might just go ahead and call my colleague right now and see how do we get you in there. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to go ahead and use Alex as our lab component. And she said she'll be monitoring it. I don't know why I can't get my words out. I think I just don't want to talk anymore. But my colleague is going to monitor Alex. And what it is, so the way Alex works, Alex is a little bit different than Pearson. Pearson gives us coursework that's relevant to what we're talking about. But Alex is more so designed to fill in any kind of gaps or deficiencies that we have, right? So when you kind of take the first exam or whatever, first little quiz, it's not really an exam. You know, based on what you get wrong, it'll create a lesson plan based on how you do. Yeah. So let's go ahead and do that. And again, I did allow it so that we can unmute ourselves. Let me see. I got to be with a set up with a personal email. They got to be.
That's like a question. Like, do we got to be with a school email, or like, do I have to set it up on my personal? Because I set it up on my personal account this summer.
I mean, honestly, school email is ideal. Oh man, hang on, I can hear myself. Honestly, school email is ideal. So, like when you set it up this summer, like, can you create another account, or do you have to like did it take some effort? Like, do you need more information?
I mean, I don't remember. I can see.
Yeah, I mean, if you can set one up with your Morehouse email, like I think there is some information that you need. I have to ask my colleague. So if you do not have an Alex account, just let me know and we'll go ahead and get you set up now. If you do have an Alex account, now is a good time. You can go ahead and log into your Alex account. And so our goal is what we're going to be looking for. What we're going to be looking for full credit is completing 25 lessons a week in Alex, right? So okay. Let me call my colleague. I'm gonna go ahead and call her. Hang on. Let me see if she'll answer. Cause she gave me instructions. Let me see if she emailed me first. We did all that. Not this box. Oh, is it back? Awesome sauce. It's back. Hey. Okay. Let's start here because I think this is where she sent it. Go ahead.
I have a question. So the Alex lab component of the class, does that start this week or are we starting that next week?
This week. Like right now. This week? Yeah, right now.
All right. Thank you.
Hang on, because I was working on it. It was a couple of days ago. Is that Sunday? I think that was Sunday. Today is what, Tuesday? So let's go to Sunday. Sunday. Man, I got a lot of emails. I gotta unsubscribe for all this stuff.
I'm gonna ask a question.
Go ahead.
I'm not sorry.
Okay.
When it comes to Alex, I already started some from the summers. So do I pick off where I left off at, or is there like a checkpoint where we all start off
Yeah,
new? Or
that should be fine. Wherever you left off from should be fine.
all right, thank you.
Let me see if I can. I might call her just so we can kind of. Okay, it's working. Here it is. Let's log in. Let me see what this. Let me just call her because this isn't look right. Give me a moment, guys. How's it going? You,
Good. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for asking. Are you available for a few minutes to answer some questions about Alex?
Yes. This talk?
Yes. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you knew.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, no problem. How you doing?
I'm well. Thank you for asking. And yourself?
I'm good. Thank you.
So we're actually in class now, and we're going to take some time to make sure everybody's set up with Alex. Do they need like an access code, or like if they needed to create an account? Well, here one question was: one student set up an account in the summer, but he used his personal email. Can he continue with the personal email, or should he make another one? He can continue with the personal.
No. If they already have an account, continue with that account with their personal email.
Okay, so let me go.
Only students who should be creating new accounts are the ones who don't have an account.
Okay.
And so all of your incoming freshmen and transfer students should have an account already.
Okay. Okay, so
and if they go create a new account and they already have one, they're gonna put us on the budget.
Okay. So hopefully, I know there was one student on the call that was. So hopefully he heard that. And then there was a. So let me see. That was one of the questions. So if he has his personal email, so he should just go ahead and continue using whichever one he had.
Yeah.
Let me see what the other ones. Yeah. So that was that one. And then another question is there a class code? So like if they got to create an Alex account, how do they create it?
Yeah. I sent that to you in the email on Sunday.
Okay. So I just give them the code.
The class code. Yeah. If they have to create an account, it's a 10-character code. I sent that to you.
Okay.
I emailed you twice, and that was in the second email.
Okay. I think I got it.
Okay. All right. And then, and I can text it to you. So you can text this number, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I can text it to you too. The other thing I didn't mention to you was once they start working on the modules, we want every student to finish at or above prep for college algebra. So if they're on prep for beginning algebra or prep for intermediate algebra, they need to do more than 25 a week in order to get up to that prep for college algebra.
So everyone needs to finish at or above which one again?
Prep for college algebra.
So as we work through Alex, every student needs to finish at or above prep for college algebra. And so if you're not at or above college algebra, you're going to have to do more than 25 lessons in a week.
Oh yeah, you need to, especially like if they're on beginning algebra, they need to be trying to do like 50 a week.
50?
To finish that all, and that prep for intermediate algebra probably at least 30, 35 a week.
Okay, so if they're, you said if they're in the beginning algebra, which was the first one?
Yeah, there's a prep for beginning algebra and then prep for intermediate algebra.
So in the prep for beginning algebra, if you're in the prep for beginning algebra, we need to be doing about 50 lectures, 50 modules a week. If we're in the prep for intermediate algebra, we need to do, you said like 35 topics per week. Okay.
Right. So to make sure that they finish at or above prep for college algebra by the end of the semester.
So we want to make sure to finish at or above prep for college algebra by the end of the semester. Okay.
Yeah, see the students that I work with, they either work on prep for college algebra or prep for pre-calculus. Those are the two.
Okay.
That they work.
Okay. Did anybody want to ask any other questions? Okay, about Alex. Are there any other questions about Alex before?
I'd like to ask a question.
You can either type it into the chat or unmute yourself.
If we already have mastered some of the topics and we wouldn't have 25 a week to be done by the semester, could we do less per week?
So, what do you know? What level you're at?
It says I mastered 62 already, or 67 already.
He says he mastered 67 already. Can he do less per week? What module are you in?
Prep for college algebra.
He said he's at prep for college algebra.
Yeah, he just needs to do like 25 a week.
So 25 a week.
Professor?
I'm going to send out the code. I see the question on the code, so I'm going to send that in a separate correspondence.
But only give the class code to the students who don't have it.
Right. That's why I'm sending it separate, because if I send it now, then yeah.
Yeah, just make sure the ones who do already have an account, they don't create another account.
So if you need a class code, just send me a direct email. I think my email is back up operational, so we'll, and we can try to make sure that we get it done. We got about, let me see the time. We still got a good amount of time today, but send me a direct email and we'll try to make sure that you get in there before we get out of class today.
Professor, I have a quick question.
You can look at that email with that Excel file that I sent you, and you can see who has an account.
Oh, okay. Tell Mr. Harris that he needs to check. Oh, I gotta unlock it actually. Let me unlock it so he can get in. Okay, tell him to try again. Okay, that's him. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. As we're good there. I'm gonna close this out. Let him finish getting in first. There it is, and then let me lock it back. Okay. Did somebody else have a question? Was there another question?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So, if my module it says prep for pre-cal, so like, do I just work from there?
So his module says prep for.
Okay, so if he's on prep for pre-cal, I have to look at his survey questions. So again, in that Excel file, you can answer, what math class they had in high school, what's the highest level they went. And you can look at the last 3 columns in the Excel file, and it'll tell you that too. So, like they might have had the course, but they didn't test well. If that's the case, they can continue to work on that. But if not, they need to be moved down to at least prep for college algebra so they can get the most out of it. And I can have them move down if they need to move down.
Did you take college algebra in high school?
Yeah.
He said he took it in high school.
How you went in high school?
How high did you go when you were in high school?
I took IB. Math studies.
IB, what is that?
International Baccalaureate. So it's basically like when we take our exams, we take it getting compared around like the whole world. Like everybody who takes IB around the world takes the test at the same time.
Yeah, I was in that myself. I know what you're talking about.
But then is that like because like for me that would be like either college algebra, pre-cal, calculus. You see what I'm saying? So like that's what we were trying to get to the bottom of. Like have you because it sounds like you've taken college algebra. Have you taken pre-calculus? It sounds like no, because if you're doing prep for pre-cal, so
yeah, I didn't take pre-cal.
But you took college algebra though.
Yeah.
Okay, I think you're fine where you are. Is what it sounds like to me.
But I'm saying, so do I do the work on that? Like, do I just like work through?
If you find that he's not able to do 25 topics a week, then he needs to move down. Okay.
You heard that?
He's struggling to do 25 topics a week.
But my question was, I just like work through what I'm like already on from like the placement test. Like I just work from there.
Yeah, you should be fine.
All right, cool.
Yeah, because it sounds like you took college algebra, so it sounds like you are where you need to be. But again, so what my colleague was saying was that like if you're finding that if you're not able to get through 25 topics in a week, then you might need to go down to college algebra just to get the most out of it.
Okay.
All right. That's all that's going on there. Yeah. Any other questions? This is actually really good because y'all are asking questions that I'm not going to know, and my colleague is going to know these better than I would for this.
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So, I am in prep for intermediate algebra. So, how many lessons a week do I have to do?
36. Right. Prep for intermediate algebra.
Yes.
I think that's right. 36, right?
Yeah, if he's on prep for intermediate algebra, he needs to try to do that 35 a week.
Yeah, 35 a week.
All right.
Any other questions, gentlemen?
So how many modules do you do if you're on prep for college algebra?
It's 25 a week.
Wait, Professor, how much was it for prep for pre-calc?
That's the minimum. They can do more. Okay.
So these are minimums. So if you wanted to do more, you can do more, right? So the idea of this is like to fill in any place that we might be deficient, right?
What was the minimum for pre-calc? Prep for pre-calc?
What was that one like?
That's 25.
Oh, so the minimum across the board sounds like it's 25. But then if you're like in the prep for intermediate, then that would be like 35. And if you're the prep for basic, that would be like 50 a week.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions? These are good questions, guys. This is a good time to answer.
Professor?
Go ahead.
How do you see what module you're on?
Do I need to open up the spreadsheet or
It shows right at the top, my boy.
Can he?
Yeah, it's like above that pie chart you got.
Yeah, you heard him. It's above the pie chart that you have.
I don't see any pie chart. All I see is inactive on the pre-test, the like placement test, and then nothing else.
Did you take the placement test here?
Yeah.
What does it say?
You take the proctored placement test?
What do you mean by that?
You could have taken 2 placement tests.
They can do it if they want to.
So she was saying that you don't have to do.
I mean, it's required for the students that I work with, but it's not required for them. If they want to take it, that's fine. Just follow the instructions that they received this summer. And if they need to proctor the instructions again, I can resend those.
So yeah, you don't have to have a proctored exam, but if you want a proctored exam, you can. But you can just follow the same instructions, and then that'll place you if you need to take the placement exam. He said, but he did say that he took the exam. He just wasn't seeing how to access it. But then the students were saying that where he is going to be above a pie chart. Like he has to get to a pie chart somewhere to see where he is. But I think we can work through that.
Okay.
Any other questions? So I can let my colleague go. Any other burning questions about Alex? Okay. I think we're actually okay for now. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. That was very helpful.
Yep. Okay. You're welcome.
Take care.
All right. Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay, that was actually pretty interesting. Like, I tried to make it clear that she was on speaker, so, and then I was intentionally trying to minimize, like, names and stuff like that, because we are streaming on the web, so I was like, okay, well, let me just try to keep that stuff to a minimum. But hopefully we have what we need. Okay, who needs access to Alex? Again, if you did do an Alex, if you set up Alex even with your personal email, just continue with that account. Because it sounds like these accounts are limited, and so I think everybody, like Spider-Man, everybody gets one, right? So, bad joke, really bad joke. It's just a long day, and I'm just ready to go. But I'm here, so if you have questions, we still got a good amount of time. I think we got like right at about just shy of 20 minutes.
What's the class code?
Okay, so let me look that up, and I will send it to everybody. Let me think about this.
Are we gonna have a class code for Alex?
No, this class code is for Alex, but you should already be.
Yeah, I'm already at Alex.
Yeah. So just wherever you are in Alex, just keep working. Because my colleague, she's gonna pull up everybody's information and grade everybody's and send me a report. So wherever you are, you just want to kind of keep going, and I'm gonna look up.
Doesn't matter. Just do 25 a week. Don't matter what I do. Just 25 a week.
Yeah, the minimum across the board is 25. There's some other stipulations. If you're below prep for college algebra, like for instance, if you're at the intermediate level, prep for intermediate algebra, you want to do about 35 a week. And if you're at the prep for basic math, you want to do about 50 topics a week. Okay, let me stop sharing this for a moment. We can go like this, it's fine.
Professor Pfeiffer?
Go ahead.
It's all due Sunday at midnight, right? With the Alex weekly assignment?
That's a good question. Because I don't know when she pulls her grades. I don't know when she pulls hers. Well, my assignments on Pearson are due every Saturday, but
Yeah, that's what because that's gonna be a conference. So like, do you want to still like focus on Alex, or like are we gonna have like a break from shit? Like,
so we can actually, like, for instance, this time right now, I don't mind if we work on this during class. So like that's why I went on to stop so we can take some time now. And then if we finish the lectures like early, like if we finish on like Thursday, we can take all of Friday class time to work on this. Right? So this is like gonna count as our lab component. Again, this all together is gonna be 10%, right? So I don't want you to stress too much about it. Definitely prioritize Pearson over Alex. But Alex is gonna serve as our lab grade, and it's just there to fill in like anything that we might be deficient in. Okay. Not we're still gonna have lecture. That's we're gonna use any remaining time that we have to work on Alex. Let me send this code first. Let me pull up this code. Gilbert Jr. Right? Okay, let me pull up this code. Let me go here because it's gonna be here. Let's go. We gotta add you back. Where'd you go? Let's go to settings. Let's go this one, right? Is this the one? That's not the one. Let's go back. Add an account. It's this one.
Professor, after you're done that, can I ask a question really quick?
Go ahead.
So how did they place us in our math test? Was it just off like that one test?
Yeah, it should have been a placement exam, and it was based on how you did.
No, because we took 2. That's why I was just asking.
Yeah, you would have to ask somebody else on that one, like the math department chair or the division chair or something like that.
All right.
Yeah, but it should have been placed. It's either the placement exam and or like SAT scores and things like that. But you would have to talk to them because I haven't signed in. I haven't seen how they did the placement recently. At one point it was a placement exam, at another point it was SAT scores. So you have to kind of talk to the chair. Let me see. This should be good. Awesome sauce. You're looking good. No, I'm gonna pass on those. I feel better like this. We're gonna hit save. That looks good. Let's go back here. I gotta give it time to populate. So while that's doing what it needs to do, let me pull it up here. She said the second one. She sent me another one. Let me check this one. Oh, some more.
Last question, Professor. Will y'all be able to see the progress of our like? Do we gotta master or just like try and do 25?
I think she said get through 25 topics in a week, right?
Just do 25. Okay.
Yeah, that'll be okay. She said she sent me another one. Let me see if I can. She never texted it. That's okay. Let me check here. Let me type it in. Okay, this might be it. Yeah, here we go. Okay, I found it. Okay, so here it is. Copy. So I need to send a direct message. So I'll send her an email. Let's go here. So who's the first one? The module. I need a code. Gilbert. It's my So I am still streaming. I'll do that later. Alex. Nope. Try it again. That's awesome. This is crazy. Like, I'm like excited and nervous about being in this day and age. Oh, come on. Is that how you're gonna display? Can you at least be seen? Let me try that one more time. If I paste it here, it's just totally not working. Why is that not working? Okay. So I'll do like this. Okay, so Mr. Gilbert, I'm sending you a direct email from a Morehouse email for Alex code. So you should receive that. Yeah, so we kind of answered that first question. Was this Kevin? Okay. Nicole, okay, I'm going to reply to yours. Mr. Reed, you're on the call as well? I'll go ahead and send that one too. Okay. What is this? Latimer, that's okay. As long as I think you got on the call today. Let me check your attendance one more time. So the people, there were a few. Let me see. Is Mr. Love on the call? Mr. Moore, Mr. Smith, or Mr. Trey Washington? Any of those guys on the call, or Jawan Willoughby, Mr. Willoughby? Okay. Those are the people that I was missing today. In my A. Okay. All right. I think we're okay. So anybody else need an access code to get into Alex, or okay? And so wherever you left off in Alex, you can just kind of keep working there. Okay, that's actually enough for one day. Okay, guys. So hopefully you're able to get into Alex. You're able to do what you needed to do. I loaded a copy. If you need a code to Alex, just email me. All right. And just send me to my email. The main thing is just Pearson and Alex now. So I would definitely prioritize Pearson, and then like if you get a little bit of downtime, which I know is probably gonna be slim. Now I do plan on using some of class time for Alex, but minimal. That's only if we have time left over. Like today, we just happen to have some time left over, so I was like, okay, we can use the rest of that time to be working on Alex, right? We're not guaranteed to have class time, but if we do have some, that's a great time to work on it. Again, if you need a code for Alex, if you set one up this summer using a personal email, you can actually keep using that same account. But if you need to get set up on Alex, send me a direct email and I'll reply with the access code. All right, guys, you were great. You were fantastic. Good luck, and I'm available if you have questions for anything. We'll pick back up on Thursday. So if we don't meet on Wednesday, we'll pick back up on Thursday. Okay? Take care. I'll see you in 2 days.
Take care, Professor. See you Thursday.
Yep. Take care. You're in the way. Stop.